Hey biology students, we are going to do the Bead Bug lab virtually. So you weren't with us in class on Wednesday to do this lab, so we're trying to create this video to make it the best opportunity for you to still do the lab, draw the same conclusions, just without actually doing the actual lab. So in Canvas, the Google Doc is linked unless you have gotten the paper copy. That's the way you're gonna have to fill this out. The instructions are listed here. I'll kind of walk you through it. I'll provide some data. You're gonna have to email Mr. Davies or Mr. DeGrand to get specific data for you to then draw your conclusions from. So we're gonna make a graph on a computer. I will graph it for you. We'll use my data that I'm gonna do here in class, but then you will submit the screenshot that you'll have to email us, and we'll send you once you email us requesting that screenshot, and that's gonna be part of your submission in Canvas. So just kind of be aware of that. So what we have is we have a piece of metal, it's just a piece of fabric, and we have a bunch of glass beads, okay? And some of these beads match nicely in the meadow and some don't. So what we're going to do is you were to take 20 blue beads and 20 green beads, and we're gonna evenly spread them out the meadow. So I'm gonna do this, and because of the angle, I'm gonna have to kind of tilt it down, so you might only see like from chin down to me, but it is what it is, okay? So let me just adjust the camera, and then I'll kind of show you what we're doing. So I have my 20 beads. I have 20 blues and 20 greens. You probably can't see them. And I'm gonna put them on my meadow, and then the idea is I'm just gonna try to randomly spread them out. Okay, so I have 20 and 20, I have a total of 40. So on my data table, you probably can't see this, but I'm gonna do a total of 5 rounds of predation. These are bugs, bead bugs, and I'm the bird that's gonna eat the bead bugs. They're my favorite food. I love bead bugs for breakfast. So that's what I'm gonna eat. So we start with 20 and 20, so I actually have 40 beads on the meadow. Whether you can see them or not, who knows? But I do, I have 20 and 20, I counted them out earlier. So as long as these are like kind of evenly dispersed or randomly dispersed, we should be pretty good. Now me as the bird, I'm gonna eat 20 seeds, 20 beads, 20 bead bugs. So the idea is I'm not gonna try to be like, oh, let's see, where are the blues? Where are the greens? My goal is I'm gonna just kind of go, okay, oh, there's a bead, and I'm gonna eat the bead. And there's one, okay? So now notice how I'm not staring at the meadow, and now I'm gonna look down, oh, there's another one. So there's number, oops, I dropped it. There is number 2, okay? And then there's number 3. There's number 4, and I'm resetting, and I'm kind of looking away. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Where's a bead? There's one. Oops, missed it. 12, 13, 14, dropped it, but it's there. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, now I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna count of the 20 beads that I just picked up, how many are of each color, okay? So, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I counted my beads. So I have, in my Petri dish, I have 6 green and 14 blue. So I ate 20. So on my data table, in this yellow section, I ate 14 blue and I ate 6 green. So I ate a total of 20 beads. I started with 40, I ate 20, there's 20 left on the meadow. So now what's gonna happen is every single blue bead that's still on the meadow is gonna reproduce going into round 2. Every single green bug that is on the meadow is gonna reproduce to go into round 2. So because I ate 14 blues, that means there's only 6 left on my meadow. So I am going to then, going into round 2, it says here I have to add 6. So if I have 6 blue, those are all gonna replicate, and I'm gonna have 6 more blue. Because I ate 6 green, there are 14 greens left on the meadow. There's gonna there's going to be 14 new greens for the second round, so I'll have to replicate those. So once I go through and reproduce, I got to count some more beads, and I'm going to evenly disperse these across the meadow once again, and then I'm going to have a total of 40 at the start of round 2 again. So let me count those out. I'll see you in a bit. All right, I have my 6 my 6 blue beads that gets replicated, and my 14 greens that also replicated. So I'm going to put those on my meadow, and I'm going to randomly kind of spread them out and disperse them to start round 2. So now, once again, I have 40 beads back on my meadow. Now, round 2, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna eat 20 more beads, okay? I'm not gonna make you watch me pick 20 off again because not super exciting. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so I ate my 20 seeds and I went through and I counted them. I had 7 blues and 13 greens. So I entered that in my spreadsheet. Now if I go through and I look and say, hey, now there's 20 beads on the meadow, they're gonna reproduce. So then going into round 2, every green bead is gonna make another green, every blue is gonna make another blue. But step number 7, there's a twist. There's a random mutation that occurred in the meadow. So one of the greens, let me just make sure I'm getting this right. Mutation occurred. One of the blues became pink and one of the greens became diamond colored. So when I go through and I reset, we have pink beads and we have these big diamond beads that are in my thing. So I'm gonna put another 20 on, and then I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna eat another round. So I'm gonna count out how many more beads, I'm gonna put them on the meadow, I'm gonna talk to you, I'm gonna go through and eat 20, then I'll talk about my results going after round 3. All right, so this is what it looks like going into round 3. I haven't eaten yet, and I said I was gonna, but I haven't. Now again, there is a random mutation that there is now a diamond and a pink that is on the meadow. If that random mutation is advantageous, it will probably survive a little longer and maybe become more popular. If it's detrimental, like, hey, do those stick out really bad, might be eaten more quickly, then that mutation will become extinct in the population. So now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna do round 3, and then I'll go through and talk about my results. All right, so at the end of round 3, I went through and I entered it in my spreadsheet. I ate 5 blues, 13 greens, the diamond and the pink both got picked off. They stood out pretty easily. That as I glanced down, oop, there it was. I grabbed it, easy to see. Okay, so now the idea is the pink mutation and the diamond mutation are gone. They went extinct. They're no longer even in the population of my meadow. So that mutation was not a good mutation, got deleted. So again, what happens at the end of round 3 is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna add 14 blue, I'm gonna add 16 greens, and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna eat, and then they're gonna replicate. And I'm gonna do 2 more rounds of predation. I'm gonna eat 2 more rounds, and then at the end, we're gonna be able to get this graph. So I'm not gonna show you the next 2 rounds, but what you're gonna do is make sure you request, you send Mr. DeGrand or myself or Mr. DeBoer an email through Canvas and ask for this spreadsheet, okay? So we will take a screenshot of this data. Based upon this data, this spreadsheet, it's got what the population of each bead bug was at the beginning of the round. So we have 6 total rounds, and we have a graph that kind of shows the kind of general trends in the meadow. So based upon the data and me kind of going through this with you, you should be able to answer the conclusion questions. This is a content standard grade, so make sure you submit this to us in Canvas, and don't forget to attach the screenshot that we send you after you request it. We're not gonna send it to you unless you request it, so make sure you request the screenshot. Otherwise, it's really hard to do the lab without the data that we are gonna give you. If you have any questions, please let us know.